this is the perfect time to play Arizona State because you've just had the very taxing, draining, emotional game against Oregon State, and USC has some offensive line injuries beyond what we've discussed. And Cortland Ford never did play against Oregon State, so that was a surprise. There was an expectation that he would play. Not a guarantee, but like it seemed to be trending that way. So the coaching staff is obviously very cautious about his health, protecting him, saving him for later in the season. So if you were going to save Cortland Ford and not play him against Fresno State, not play him against Oregon State, well, you don't have to play him against Arizona State this upcoming weekend. You can give him another week of rest and make sure that he's ready to go for that big double stack. October 8th, Washington State, October 15th, Utah. So playing Arizona State gives USC a chance to get healthy on the offensive line. Justin Dedich, he was wearing a very heavy brace, and he was not 100%. So this is the week against Arizona State. Get those starting offensive linemen healthy. If there's a game where you can afford to play backups and not pay a price, well, Colorado would be number 1 in the Pac-12. Arizona State would be number 2. Arizona State is the worst non-Colorado team in the Pac-12. So if you're USC, you use this game as kind of a semi-bye week, to rest as many frontline players as you can for that Washington State-Utah double stack just around the bend. You run the ball a lot. You want to have fewer plays, fewer possessions. As Ralph Amsden said, against Arizona State's depleted defensive front, the matchup lends itself to running the ball anyway. And also, you don't want to show Washington State too many concepts before that game on October 8th when you're going to need to score plenty of points. So this is a game for run the ball, play action off the run, get those muscular, tall Arizona State safeties into the tackle box and go over the top with play action looks as opposed to, 4 wide receivers, spread them out and try and just pitch it around the ball yard. So this is a game where USC needs to shorten the game, run the ball, get offensive linemen healthy, establish a big lead, and really just try to minimize the overall physical strain on everyone. And I would say, Mark, you posted a poll earlier in the game that showed USC as a 26.5-point favorite. I think this definitely shapes up as a game where USC is not going to go all out on offense because it's not the time to go all out. This is a roster management game for Lincoln Riley. And one of the tricky points that he faces this week, not in terms of beating Arizona State, but in terms of managing his roster for the rest of the season. All right, you just came off a bad offensive performance. So the fan base and Lincoln Riley himself are going to be pulled in the direction of, boy, let's figure all of this out. Let's solve it. Let's give the fans a good product this week. But that doesn't mean you become hyper aggressive. It doesn't mean you try to do everything all at once. You need to treat Arizona State as the chance to get healthy, as a chance to minimize strain on the roster and the team before the Washington State-Utah double stack. So I think USC is going to be very cautious in this game, going to be more conservative in this game, going to emphasize the run. And so it's going to be a game where I don't think you're going to see USC hang a 50 burger on Arizona State. I think it's a kind of game that sets up something like 30-10, something in that range. And really, we need to see Lincoln Riley manage the game, not in terms of the opponent, but in terms of the season. Arizona State is so depleted, it gives the Trojans that chance to, again, make it kind of a semi-bye week before those really 2 big games against Washington State and Utah.